Brazilian airport, he is visibly panicking and is in a hurry. Most people would think he is missing a flight, but the truth cannot be further from that. He asks the help desk for any ticket to the west, but finds out the nearest one is 2 hours later. Still, he buys the ticket just for the sake of crossing the terminal. At the same airport, a famous influencer, Inez, is video chatting with a friend in New York when suddenly she chokes and falls unconscious. Inez is worried, especially since she cannot do anything to help her. Outside, people who are watching the TV see that the TV reporters and live show hosts have passed out in front of the camera. Not just that, but an entire street of people are lying unconscious on the ground. The viewers think it must be some kind of joke, except for Terenzio, who knows what is going on. He says it is time for him to act, and rushes to the terminal. When a guard is distracted, Terenzio snatches his gun and asks everyone to get out of his way. He rushes to a flight that is about to take off to Moscow in a few minutes. Only some passengers have boarded the flight. When he gets inside and holds everyone at gunpoint, the pilot is missing, and the co-pilot, Matthew, doesn't want to help the terrorist. As they fight for the gun, a bullet hits Matthew's palm and injures him. Outside, the passengers panic, and the flight attendant Gabrielle tries to keep them calm. Terenzio comes out of the cockpit asking if there is a pilot on board. A woman named Sophie gets up, although she is only a retired helicopter pilot. Under Terenzio's order, she and Matthew take off with all other passengers. The avionics are broken because of the bullet, and as a result, no one from the plane can contact anyone outside. When the plane is airborne, Sylvie and Matthew try their best to reason with Terenzio, but the man remains adamant. He says that he is an officer assigned to NATO and knows something that they don't. Upon being urged, he reveals that the rays of the sun have become deadly. Starting the next day, the sunrise is going to kill everyone, even those who stay indoors. This has already started in eastern countries like Japan and Korea, and the plane will be the next target if the sunrise catches up with them. Matthew and Sylvie do not believe him and theorize that he is mentally ill. Terenzio also acknowledges that he might seem like an idiot, but claims that he is not. Matthew's hand is bleeding profoundly, which might cause a problem in the long run. One of the passengers, named Laura, is a home health nurse for an old man with dementia. She is the only medical professional on board, so she takes the responsibility to help the pilot. They have no sewing kit to close the wound, so they use a hot knife. Matthew screams in pain, and the passengers panic even more. Matthew knows that if they start to protest, everyone's life will be in danger. Hence, he tells them that they will land at a different location, as per Terenzio's wish, before continuing their way to the original destination. Matthew hopes that the fighter jets are coming to rescue them, since they were taken at gunpoint, but for some reason, Sylvie feels like they are on their own. A passenger named Ayaz has heard them talk about the sun and is suspicious that the pilot is lying to them. Suddenly, an Arab passenger starts coughing and falls unconscious. Ayaz pretends to be helping him and then snatches Terenzio's gun in the process. Terenzio is locked inside the toilet at Ayaz's order, and Matthew is asked to tell the truth. The pilot discloses they are landing in Iceland because Terenzio wanted to go somewhere west. There, the police will arrest the terrorist and the others will be let free. He also tells them about the sun and how Terenzio thinks it will kill people. This sends the passengers into a frenzy. They start recalling strange things that happened before they boarded the flight and are worried about their families. Matthew calms everyone and takes the responsibility to save them all as the captain. A while later, he tries to land in an airport in Iceland, but gets no signal from traffic control. When they can see the ground close up, they notice several airplanes have crashed into each other, and people are running around. They finally register that Terenzio was telling the truth, but since the runway is blocked, they cannot land. The plane only has enough fuel to fly a bit west to Scotland. Hence, the captain decides to do so and hope for the best. He brings Terenzio out of the toilet so the man can tell everyone what is going on. He discloses that he found out about the sun by eavesdropping on his senior's conversation. He doesn't know why it is happening or if it will stop anytime soon. All he knows is that if they want to survive, they will have to fly away from the sunrise. Meanwhile, the Arab man who passed out earlier is still on the floor. He has a hard time breathing, is about to go into cardiac arrest. With his last breaths, he says that he swallowed diamonds. The nurse Laura tries her best to pull the diamonds from his ass, to save him, but her attempts go in vain. Nothing At the same time, they go for an emergency landing in Scotland, where Matthew stops the plane seconds away from hitting a wall. They go outside and their phones start chiming with notifications from their loved ones. The internet is filled with news about deadly sunlight. Half of the world has died and the other half is waiting for their death. The airport is empty because everyone who had the chance to run away has fled and the others are hiding in dark places, hoping that it will protect them. However, the news suggests that people are dying even inside bunkers. Suddenly, they are approached by 3 RAF servicemen asking for help. They only have 45 minutes before sunrise, so they decide to collect important supplies and fly west. One of the passengers is an aircraft engineer, Jacob. He wants to go back to his pregnant wife to save her, but for the overall safety of the passengers, he is asked to step back. After collecting supplies and filling the airplane's tank, they take off one more time. One of the servicemen is a pilot and suggests they fly away from the equator to avoid the sun catching up to them faster. Their next stop is Canada, where they will fuel up the airplane again and fix the radio. A while later, the internet is fixed, and their phones all begin to chime. They receive the last messages from their loved ones who have already died in Brussels. Then, a man finds an article saying that the cause of the disaster is the sun's polarity. Another passenger named Horst is a climate specialist and knows what a sun's polarity means. He explains that every 11 years, the sun's magnetic field reverses, but no one knows why. It has no significant effect on the world, so not much research has been done. However, over the past few decades, the intensity of the reversal was growing weaker. Because of this, Horst thinks the reversal has become much more powerful in the other direction. If what he is saying is true, the Earth is being blasted with gamma rays everywhere the sun falls, which is why people are dying instantly. They have no way to prove the theory because the scientists who published the article are also probably all dead. Right then, IAS finds out a news report saying that the RAF servicemen they picked up are actually terrorists from Afghanistan. They were arrested and were being brought back to their country at the airport. Outside, one of them gets into an argument and pushes the old man who has dementia. It causes his death and gains the terrorist the passenger's disapproval. Being a terrorist is cool, but pushing old people, dude. Sylvie tells Matthew about the news report, and the two decide to abandon the terrorists when they land in Canada. A few minutes later, they land and have 2 hours before sunrise. Several victims of the sunlight lie around in the city. The terrorists are asked to look for repair radio parts in the nearest shop. They agree, but insist on taking Gabrielle and Jacob with them. The problem is that Jacob knows about the plan, but not Gabrielle. Hence, when they are in the shop and Jacob locks the terrorists in a room, Gabrielle refuses to come with him. Jacob doesn't waste any time trying to convince her. In the end, he makes it to the airport while being followed by the terrorists, but